This is firefighter Raphael Porriette for Firehouse Subs. Introducing new Firehouse Pairs. Pair your favorite small sub with a signature side, like the awesome 5-cheese mac and cheese. And remember, a portion of every purchase at Firehouse Subs goes towards helping first responders. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Participating locations only. Firehouse Subs will donate a minimum of $1 million in 2019 to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation by donating 0.11% of every purchase.
Hey everybody, this is Toof, the country bumpkin at the Brothers Commonplace. Thanks for checking out our podcast. Just a quick disclaimer before we start though. We are a comedy podcast that covers many serious events. We aren't here to purposely offend or disrespect any of the people in our topics. We really aren't. But at the same time, we are trying to make each other laugh and crack jokes and just be goofs in a way, you know? Thanks for listening. Be good. Stay safe and try to laugh at the dark stuff.
All right, fellas, like we practiced.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Come on down. Come on down. Hanging with the brothers tonight, yeah. Come on down to the Brothers Commonplace tonight.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Brothers Commonplace. We are a comedy podcast that covers monsters, murders, mysteries, and more. And before we jump into our topic, let's go ahead and say hello to the whole crew, baby.
What's up, guys? This is Tim, or Ronnie Matthews, as they call me when I saw your face in WoW. Fucking Hey Arnold joke.
Oh, yeah.
I like how nobody knows what mine is, but you guys.
All right, this is Andrew, a.k.a. Deuce Bigelow, Cooper, so.
I like that.
What up, guys? This is Spence, also known as the autoerotic asphyxiator.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yes.
Hey everyone, this is a Toof. It's close to Halloween, so you know what I like to do around this time? Make werewolf movies.
Yes, dude. Yes. I would hope like people don't get that joke besides us too.
And y'all know me, it's the kid, a.k.a. the Cleveland Strangler, and today we'll be talking about D.B. Cooper, the only unsolved aviation hijacking case in U.S. history that has gone unsolved and never figured out. So we're going to talk about what happened to him, who he could possibly be. But before we jump into the case, you guys got anything you want to talk about before we start?
Andrew?
Why are triangles round?
He's got us there.
Dude. While doing research, I did learn that there is a documentary worth watching called The Skyjacker,
Ooh.
which just so happens to be an old nickname of mine, but they call me that for different reasons.
You got to the Mile High Club by yourself. Skyjack is also a map on Black Ops 3.
Oh, hell yeah.
I feel like Toof wants to say
I
something.
know, too.
I'm starting to think my intro next.
Either that or you're
my God.
dry heaving.
It was like,
Dude, Toof's face just now reminded me of like Chris Farley when he's the bus driver and fucking was it Billy Madison? When he's like pissed and he's like, I'll turn this goddamn bus around. Like for a second, that's what your face reminded me of.
On November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve, a man by the name Dan Cooper hijacked and parachuted out of a Boeing 727 with $200,000 in cash. The man was never found, and the $200,000 was never spent. Nobody knows who Cooper actually was, and nobody knows for sure whether he survived or if he died after jumping.
man, Black Friday prices were expensive back then.
God damn it, dude. I swear to God, I was just about to say that. Fuck, man. Nice, Toof. I was waiting. I didn't know if Kev was done, and I was going to crack a Black Friday joke.
He flew the plane over Walmart and jumped out. He's like, I'm beating you fuckers in there.
While researching this case, many people often refer to Cooper as a badass or an anti-hero, and some just consider him a pretty cool guy. And then on the other end, people thought the guy had no idea what he was doing. I like to believe that he was super cool. He seems fun. I mean, yeah, he hijacked a plane, he had a bomb, and he's a terrorist, but I think he was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I mean,
So.
there has been worse, when you kind of like go with that scenario.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, he didn't kill anybody. He may not have even gotten away with the money. We don't know.
So
yeah.
as far as we know, he just did, like, it was just a regular guy who just did this shit and then just, like, died.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a cool way to go out.
I mean, he wore some badass sunglasses and,
He was a pretty fly for a white guy.
Nice.
November 24th, Dan Cooper purchased a plane ticket on Northwest Airlines 305 from Portland to Seattle. He paid for the ticket with a $20 bill and signed his name as Dan Cooper, which is most likely not his real name. The name DB Cooper was falsely reported by the media, but it sounded a lot cooler and it kind of just stuck. But yeah, so his only name is that he gave was Dan Cooper. When he bought the ticket, he just signed the ticket with his name as that, and you didn't have to give like an ID or anything like that back then. So.
Yeah, I heard like when they were on the plane, like they made like a TV show and stuff. Like it never got released, but it was called Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That show fucking sucked.
There was his name was Dan Cooper, but they mispronounced it. There was a band called the Dan Brothers, but they also call them the DB Brothers. That's what it's called, right? Yeah.
And besides like the name he signed on the ticket, I guess they also found a drawing he left behind. It's just one of those S things that kids used to draw in school.
Fuck yeah, dude. So it was me. I still fucking draw those.
While purchasing the ticket, Dan asked, "This plane is a 727, right?" Which would come into play later when trying to figure out his identity, because it sounds like he chose this type of plane for a specific reason, which we'll later find out he did.
That's crazy.
A Boeing 727 is a type of plane equipped with an aft stairwell. What that is a set of stairs that drop down from the rear of the plane, which could be deployed while in flight and which would have given him a means of escape. So that's why he chose that airplane, so he could lower those stairs in the back and jump out.
Gotcha.
My father had to get an operation where they put in an aft stairwell on him.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
It's like the pajamas with the ass
Oh,
flat,
fuck
but it's
yeah,
just
dude,
actual ass does it.
All it was just so you could sit down anywhere. That's the only reason.
So he like jumping out the back.
Here it
So what is he, the Taco Bell that went through me when I'm sitting on the toilet? God, damn, that's so dumb.
It had to be said too.
I'm just going to refer to Dan Cooper as DB Cooper since that's what he's known as.
Yeah.
So DB Cooper boarded the plane and sat in the very back. He wore a dark suit, a neatly pressed white shirt with a black tie, and he also wore loafers. He was also have said to have been wearing black or a dark overcoat. And the only uncool thing about this guy was that his tie was a clip-on. And as far as age-wise goes, Cooper was said to be in like his mid-40s. So pretty much everything about him seems pretty cool. But the clip-on, I don't know, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. So.
Yeah. I mean, I like how he left that there. Like, that's the funny thing. Like, even he was like, yeah, this is fucking lame.
Yeah.
Like why? Like, I wish like he was like already halfway. I was like, why the fuck did I wear this? And just throws it back on the plane.
See, I like that idea a lot. Some say like maybe it wasn't actually his tie. Like maybe it was just a tie that was left on the plane. But I think I don't know. That'd be weird. Why there'd just be a tie there? But
Yeah.
a clip-on, it's the only thing that doesn't really fit with them. And it was from JCPenney. Not
Yeah.
that adds anything, but
Word sport.
Are we going to talk about the stuff on his tie at all?
oh yeah, you can talk about it now. We'll bring it up a little bit later, but you can go ahead and mention it now, dude.
Because like he had like all these elements on his tie that was like titanium, beryllium, kryptonium, all this like elements and stuff, and they determined that like the only way you can get all these elements is if he worked for Boeing and stuff like that because they're working on some super secret plane.
Yeah, they were like rare earth elements, so that kind of came into play when they were trying to figure out in theory who he was, possibly.
So that means he wore a clip-on tie to work.
I guess.
Like
And
that's even worse.
That's got to be a good job. You think you could afford better?
Yeah. I think the clip-on was maybe a diversion.
Wait a minute. What if he's working with engines and stuff and it's like working near a fan? So like if your tie hangs off and it gets caught by the fan, it doesn't pull you in, it just pulls the tie off.
That's true. Or maybe he was like running the building, like maybe like a type of engineer, so he's like a head dude, and he didn't have a tie that day, and as he was walking through the building, like one of the like scrubby or uncool guys was in front of that fan. It blew the tie off of him and landed on DB Cooper.
Nice.
And maybe he just kept it on.
That sucks. I mean, it sucks I lost my tie that day.
I was just saying, yeah, he must have just walked past my closet then.
Yeah.
To add to the investigation, though, when they found all those elements, that made it that narrowed it down that he was probably also one of the last airbenders.
Oh, fuck yes, dude. I was going to crack a Captain Planet joke, but that was even better.
Yeah, that was a good one. Also on the tie, he had a mother of pearl clip, and it was placed from the left side of the tie. So they use that to identify and say, like, well, the suspect was probably left-handed then with the way that it was placed on the tie.
Oh.
And Cooper also brought with him a briefcase and a paper bag. The contents of the paper bag were unknown, however, and then the briefcase's contents would soon be found out by the flight attendant, Florence Schaffner.
Which they just found out it was just like a caramel apple in the bag or something. Like something just like non-threatening at all.
He just had like a paper bag full, like when you buy baseball cards and it has like a stick of gum in it, just the gum.
Fuck yeah, dude. He just has like a bunch of like bazooka wrappers.
Do you think it's possible that he teleported to meet the air hostess's husband somewhere? William?
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god! Dude, I'm ashamed it took me that. I looked over at the computer where my notes are saw Florence.
Oh wait, I still don't get it.
William Shatner?
But
Oh,
it,
fuck
it
yes,
saw
dude.
Florence Schaffner.
Oh,
And then I looked over
okay.
at the notes, and then it dawned on me what it
Gotcha.
was. Andrew, got anything you want to say? What do you think might have been in that paper bag, dude?
Honestly, I think a bunch of Star Crunches were in there.
Fuck yes, dude. Hope they find that bag.
So, did he pull the note out of the paper bag or out of the briefcase?
I think just maybe a suit pocket. We'll get to the note.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, I really have no idea. The paper bag's not really ever mentioned again.
Could be really could have been like a barf bag. Like he could have just
Yeah.
like gotten sick. Well, I mean, I guess that doesn't really go with any of the theories though, because you'd think he'd be used to flying.
Does anything?
True.
And the first thing that Cooper does when the plane takes off is he orders a bourbon and soda and lights up a Raleigh cigarette. So that's pretty cool, too. Just getting ready to start like this big fucking heist, and he orders a bourbon and soda. And by the end of the flight, he even pays for his drink order.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's funny because he was just gonna fucking jump out of it. He was-
Yeah.
Class act.
Well, he's got the money for it, so.
It's true.
So this is all taking place in the afternoon, about 2 or 3 p.m., and the flight is only a 30-minute flight. So shortly after takeoff and getting his drink, Cooper hands a note to Florence Schaffner, and she just assumed that it was like his number and she was being hit on. And so she put the note in her purse or pocket without opening it. And then shortly after, Cooper tells her, "Excuse me, Flo?" No, I don't know if he said that,
I hope
but
so.
she was quoted saying that he told her, "Miss, you better look at that note. I have a bomb, and you're being hijacked."
Ugh,
That's kind of cool.
it is, yeah. I mean, somebody else in something we already watched pointed that out, but it's funny that he was trying to be like secret, and then he had to just straight tell him,
Yeah.
like,
Psst.
yeah, hey,
Psst. We look at that note.
yeah, like check, come on.
Hey, on the SpongeBob episode, have you finished with those errands?
Oh, fuck
Like, hey,
yeah.
have you looked at that note?
He talks to the stewardess. He's like, "You should look at that note because I have a bomb." And she's like, "Yeah, so does Mr. Tyler Carnell in row 7, but the bathrooms are full right now, so you're just going to have to wait." And then he just farts walking down the hallway.
That kind of reminds me of that one kid who got in trouble at that school. He was like arrested because he had this note that said he just passed the bomb in the library, and then they
Oh.
asked him about it. He's like, "I was just making a fart joke."
Fuck yes, dude.
He got arrested.
Yes, that's fucking awesome.
Fucking Columbine ruins everything.
I know, man. Andrew, what the fuck?
Andrew, why'd you do it?
Yeah, dude, it's fucked up, man.
Wait, the fart joke or Columbine?
dude? Both.
Both, yeah.
I had nothing better to do.
Which time?
Both times.
Oh, okay, all right.
But
Well, hey,
actually, Kev, you got
Yeah,
the
it makes
facts
sense.
on that note wrong. He actually was really rude to her when he handed her that note, and she didn't like look at it because he said, "Hey, miss, I'm the bomb."
And the note tells her to sit next to him, and then he shows her the bomb that's in his briefcase. And she later stated that it looked like 8 red cylinders with a bunch of wires connected to a battery. So he actually had a bomb in his briefcase. Whether it's a real bomb or not, we don't really know.
Yeah.
Whenever he jumps out of the plane later, he does take this briefcase with him. So if it was
wow.
a bomb, I mean, I don't know why you would just take it with you. But then
Yeah.
again, I don't know. He probably wouldn't want to leave it with all his
Yeah.
fingerprints and evidence and things like that.
Which it was just like Mentos in a Coke bottle. Like that's all he had in there.
He's like, "Oh shit!" He like warns the pilot like before they take off. He's like, "Yeah, do whatever you do to get no turbulence on this flight."
It's just Pop Rocks in a Coke bottle.
So he tells her to write down what he says and to give it to the captain. He asks for $200,000 in quote negotiable American currency, 4 parachutes, which were 2 front and 2 back chutes, and a fuel truck ready to refuel whenever they land. And he also tells them, "Hey, no funny stuff or I'll do the job." That's kind of another funny thing to say too.
Yeah.
No funny stuff or I'll do the job.
That's actually a popular saying because no funny stuff is on the bottom of every Carlos Mencia ticket you buy.
Oh, fuck. Yes, dude. Holy shit. Oh, that's fucking good.
Instead of stealing money, though, he just steals jokes.
Oh, my God. He's so bad.
I just turn on my Mencia and just laugh my shaft off. And whenever he gets the money, the $200,000, it's in all 20s. Some say that Cooper asked for it that way, but then some reports state that the money was given to him in 20s on purpose so that it would be harder for him to escape with it all. Because when it's in 20s, it's like a little over 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And since they assumed he's going to be jumping onto the plane with it, they wanted to make it a little harder for him.
They try giving it to him in pennies.
But then again, that's what the FBI says. So there's a lot of stuff with the FBI where, like, all the people, all the crew were like, yeah, he was actually a really nice guy. And the FBI is like, no, man, this guy was a dick. He was a jerk. And then they're like, well, he asked for it all in 20s. And the FBI is like, no, we gave it to him in 20s, so it'd be harder.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny.
Trying to take credit.
No, we wanted him to jump on the plane when it was raining. We waited for it to rain.
Oh, fuck yeah.
As far as the weather goes right now, it's the day before Thanksgiving, and it's raining really hard. It's kind of storming a little bit. And the wind chill.
Was it raining men?
It was about to be raining, man.
Oh, yes.
And with the wind chill, by the time he did jump out, it was in like the negatives. And plus, you got like 200-mile-per-hour wind whenever the plane's going.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he did not pick the right time.
And as far as the parachutes go, they said that Cooper was offered a military parachute, but he wanted civilian ones instead. And there's been a lot of debate on why. Maybe he was more familiar with the civilian ones, but some of the theories are that he was former military, probably would have asked for the military chutes instead. And another possible reasoning is that the civilian chutes allow you to manually pull the ripcord, and you can also guide the chute, unlike the military ones. But with the weather and how that's going, the military ones would have probably been better because they're more sturdy.
Do you think maybe he picked like around Thanksgiving just because there wouldn't be as many travelers and stuff?
You know, that's a good idea. I didn't really think about that, but I bet. I mean, there was like 36 passengers on this flight, I think. It was only like a third of the way full.
Because I think like a lot of people probably travel like a couple of days before that or like a week before that.
Yeah.
But on that day, probably not many people.
Yeah.
Wait, how did he get the money?
Well, they land a plane. We'll get to it, but he lands the plane, and then he demands ransom or he'll blow it up.
Tubular.
That's usually what I do at work. If I have to take a shit, nobody will let me take a break. So let this bomb out.
Then you let the bomb out regardless.
True.
Come on, man, give us a courtesy flush. $20 more in ones.
Yeah, like if they want you to wipe, you have to pay more.
You're just eating there. You're just in the stall, just pounding Star Crunches. Like, I'm just making it worse for you guys.
And whenever Andrew's in like a super bad, shitty mood, and he's just a dick, he demands the money in state quarters.
Yes, the fucking bulletin thing that you put him in.
Yes, dude.
He's like, I'm missing Hawaii, but guys better pay the fuck up.
I'm about to hit round 2, so that quarter better fucking get here.
It's just $12.
His ransom is $12.
Yeah, but you know how fucking hard it is to get Wyoming, man.
Yo, I know.
Delaware.
I've been trying to
We're
get
in,
Wyoming for
Delaware.
years.
So it took time for the...
You better give me Texas or I'm dropping gas.
Okay, dude. Okay. No more quarter jokes the rest of this episode. It took time for the FBI to gather up the chutes and money in order to deliver them, and the flight was only a 30-minute flight, so the pilot had to circle around for 2 hours before landing. And since nobody else on the plane knew of the hijacking, the pilot told everyone over the intercom that due to mechanical issues, they had to wait to land.
Oh, well.
So I think I would rather just be told, yeah, we're getting hijacked,
Yeah.
instead of, yo, we got some fucked up gear, we can't land.
Yeah, like, hey, we are either going to crash and die, or, hey, this dude just wants some money. You know, he's not trying to kill us. I feel like that would cause, like, less panic.
What's funny is I guess, like, years later after all this, they were doing interviews with people, and one of the guys was like, yeah, I was on that flight. I knew what was going on.
Oh, my God.
No, you didn't.
What
you didn't know
the fuck?
shit.
They had to coordinate with multiple airports in the area, and it turned out, like, by the time it was all done, there were 21 pilots involved.
No.
They were all stressed out from that.
I love that Spence. Before he said the joke, he paused and shook his head no.
His inner demons were telling him to do it. He was trying to stop. No, God, no, I don't wanna
Cooper
do
said
this.
that the reason he was doing the hijacking was because all the people on the plane were heathens.
And so one of my favorite parts of the story is after Florence returns from speaking to the pilots in the cockpit. Whenever she comes back, Cooper is just sitting in the back row wearing dark sunglasses and just sitting there smoking and drinking his bourbon.
That's awesome.
So imagine that. Like, imagine you're working on this plane. This dude's like, yeah, I'm going to blow this fucker up. Here's some demands. You go tell the demands. You come back, and he's just now sitting in the back with black shades on.
I heard like a couple different stories. I heard one of them, like they came back and he was just wearing the V for Vendetta mask.
And this time he was drinking DNL.
And he had a My Little Pony shirt on.
Fuck yeah. He was drinking 7 upside down.
I don't know how true this is, but I heard that there was other flights nearby, and one of the pilots in the other flight had the intercom going over to the crew
Yeah.
when the pilot was pulling the information from the flight that was actually getting hijacked. So that pilot was listening to the other one and playing it over the intercom for his passengers. Why the fuck would you want to listen to that in the plane?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, hey, everyone back there, this is the pilot speaking. Do you want to listen to this other plane getting hijacked? Fuck that.
Check this out, guys.
He's like, we'll take a vote. Does anyone want to hear it? Like, it's definitely not our flight. No. Yeah, fuck yeah. Play that shit up,
I
dude.
mean, yeah, some people would, yeah.
You know what? Turn off their fucking engines. Give them a real show.
You can't turn off another plane's engine.
Remote.
Then why do those planes have so many switches then?
Like, what if they accidentally hit that? They just kill like a ton of people.
They have a kill switch for every fucking other airplane.
I can think of a few times we probably would have needed that, but
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like DB Cooper? I could really use some money right now. Money right now. Money right now. Let's pretend like it's 1971 and I'm eating some Star Crunches off some styrofoam trays. I got me some black fucking shades. Trying to get turned while I'm drinking some bourbon. That's it.
The FBI and Northwest Airlines president told the captain and crew to fully cooperate with DB Cooper. And
wait a minute. Why didn't they just choke him out? Isn't that their policy?
oh my god, yes.
Sorry for cutting you off.
oh, you're good, dude. So the FBI and Northwest Airlines president told the captain and crew to fully cooperate with the hijacker, and Cooper even tried to add to his list of ransom demands. He told the crew that whatever meal or food they wanted, he would ask for them to deliver it with the money. So that's like a pretty baller move. That's cool as hell to do.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Nuggets? No? Nuggets? McRib? Dude, if the McRib was out, dude, he should have got them all McRibs.
Oh fuck yeah.
McRibs.
Fast bar.
What?
Slim Fast Bar. Like he's eating the McRibs, he just decides not to. He's like, you know what, guys, I don't want to do this anymore. This is good enough. I don't need that money.
He's like, can I have a giant, like 5-foot diameter Star Crunch? And then you guys take the cookie cutter materials and turn it into a 69?
Oh my god, yes.
Just the pilot is like, well, actually, yeah. Could I get one of those yardsticks of bubblegum? And those wax lips.
Oh my God.
Can you get us some of those wax lips?
I heard Andrew was on there and he asked for a nerd's rope.
That's my go-to.
The one guy's like, I never want to order this off Amazon because it costs way too fucking much, but can I have like a 5-pound gummy worm? I've always wanted one of those.
The thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Will you order that offline?
Imagine that. Like you're sitting out watching out the window, waiting for the guy to deliver your fucking 5-pound gummy worm,
dude.
How do you even eat that?
You have to take like a bunch of shots of insulin, I'm guessing, but
It takes 3 months to get their ship from China.
I'm sure Andrew could find some room for it. The butt dildo joke.
okay. Had to be
How are we
explained.
supposed to know that?
Like, okay. So vague.
The flight attendants and crew stated that Cooper was calm the entire time. He was very polite and well-spoken. And one of their quotes, they say, he seemed rather nice, and he was never cruel or nasty, and he was thoughtful and calm all the time. And there was a moment where one of the attendants asked him if he had a grudge against this specific airline, and he stated, no, I just have a grudge. So that's another cool thing too.
No, I just watched The Grudge.
No, I just watched Judge Dredd. Never mind, I couldn't think of how to say it, dude.
He really did just watch The Grudge, and he wasn't planning on living at all. He just killed himself.
Damn, I was about to say, like, yeah, after watching The Grudge, I kind of wanted to jump out of a plane, too.
Yeah. He doesn't even, like, for some reason, he just wanted to waste all that money because he wasted buying the DVD of The Grudge.
Just in case there is a sequel, I'll jump out the plane. If I live, I'll use the money to stop it. And if I die, I'll never have to see it.
Oh, fuck, because there was, like, 3 sequels.
Every sequel, he does this.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm just into grunge.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I hope that was. Wait, I started going from Nirvana into Wild Thing.
Oh, fuck yes, dude.
He also tried to tip the flight attendants, but they refused any money because they aren't allowed to accept tips. Fuck that. If I'm getting like, if I'm like, yeah, dude, cool. Like,
Oh, yeah, even if it's just one of those 20s.
Yeah,
I want some. Yeah,
I'll take.
Still a $20 tip.
I would have easily. You could have gone to work. It could have been like a normal, boring day, and at the end of the day, you could have gotten a McRib, some money, and whatever food you wanted.
Yeah.
So, you know, it could have been lunch for the week, dude. You could have fed your kids.
I hope that this is the right amount of money, but I heard he tried to tip them $5.75. Is that the right? Yes. All right. Yeah. I was hoping that was right.
It's like, dude. Wait a minute.
They're all connected.
Imagine if Heaven's Gate, they were all the crew on this plane, and they're like, yeah, do you guys want any, like, I can order some meals
God,
in the
the
ransom,
Popeyes.
and they all get turkey pot pies because they think he's going to blow the plane up.
He thinks he's somehow getting on the comet by jumping out of the
Oh,
plane.
my God. Yes.
At 5:39 p.m., the plane landed, and Tina Mucklow, one of the flight attendants, was sent out to retrieve the money and parachutes, and then came back onto the plane. Cooper then let all the passengers and crew get off the plane except for the 2 pilots and Mucklow. Mucklow is just a piece of shit name.
Yeah,
like, I'm
it's
sure she's a
weird.
nice girl and a
Yeah.
cool person, but that name sucks.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to have that name and, like,
Dude.
get laid in high school.
Dude, there was like the worst joke ever that I really don't even want to say on the podcast.
Let's hear it.
When she landed, they were muck low, and when they went back up in the plane, they were muck high.
Jesus Christ.
Don't even keep it in there, dude. It's so bad.
Mucklow sounds like a name where wherever she goes, like as soon as she got off this plane to like retrieve this stuff, I guarantee people threw handfuls of mud at her.
Yeah, dude.
They put sticks in her vagina.
Fuck. What the fuck?
I was thinking like the Blair Witch. I don't know where that came from.
Like, dude, when you said that, I did think of the Blair Witch, though. So that and Evil Dead kind of both popped in my head.
Cooper had all the windows closed and the lights turned off on the plane whenever they were landed so that if there were any snipers looking to take a shot, they wouldn't be able to know where he was, which was a good call because there actually were snipers taking a look.
Yeah, but they just shot at Mucklow. So.
The guns, they just filled the guns with mud and fucking shot her from far away.
I heard. I actually read something different. It was on Wikipedia though, so I don't really know how much merit it has. But he closed off all the windows and turned off all the lights because he's like, everyone on the plane, I invented this new game called 7 Minutes in Heaven.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
He's like, while we play Hey Mucklow, will you get off the plane for a minute?
They turned off all the lights. They all went in the bathroom and did Bloody Mary.
He's like, yeah, even though the lights are off, you still stink, Mucklow.
Oh, my God.
She like comes back wearing like a sexy dress, and he's like, it's 7 minutes in heaven, not 7 minutes in Mucklow.
So Marshall Applewhite was sitting on the plane. He's like, 7 minutes in heaven is gate?
Oh, my God.
While he's
I
eating
got the
it,
name.
while he wipes chicken pot pie from his chin.
Oh,
That's how he
yes.
got the idea.
I want to crack. I don't know how to crack this joke, but I want Mucklow to be the fucking ghost girl from the Lisa Lamb thing, like the,
Oh my God,
the
the
elevator.
elevator
Yeah.
ghost. She's not dead though. No, what's kind of sad though?
Her
One
name?
of them becomes like a nun. Or, I don't know if she becomes a nun, but she goes and like lives off with them.
Yeah.
And they said like the religious group she was staying with was like, yeah, she never really fit in here.
Oh my
It's
God.
kind of sad.
Wait, it was
ain't it?
Mucklow?
I don't know if it was Mucklow or Florence. I
I
don't
would say
remember.
because I mean, if it was, I mean, nobody's gonna like to hear Sister Mucklow, so that really could have been it.
Sister Mucklow,
Can we
all
just
the
change it?
time has come.
How
I
do
could
you
just-
solve a problem like Mucklow?
Just imagine you're a gynecologist, and you're like, yeah, your next patient's coming in. It's Tina Mucklow. You're like, I can already smell her pussy from here.
This poor lady, man. You know that's so. I hope to God that Mucklow isn't just like at home, be like, you know, I'm gonna check out some podcasts on what happened and see if I can hear about it and see if they got some of the details right. And then she gets to all this where we're just bashing her. It's like an unwanted roast of her, you know.
He's like sitting there. He's like, "Oh, you said muckle? I thought you said or fuck blow."
What?
The fucking delivery, Andrew. I love you, dude.
So this chick's at a bar talking to a guy, and she's like, you can go back to my room, you know, like, if we get lost, just say Tina Mucklow. He just looks down at her pussy. He's like, yeah, I'm gay. I need to get out of here. And when he walks away, he's like, I bet that thing stinks.
Okay, no more. I gotta step in. I gotta put an end to the Mucklows for a little bit.
For now.
And one of the
One more.
Okay, one more.
Yes.
Damn, with a name like Mucklow. Her gynecologist must not know what finger to stick in the hole. Which hole?
He said it wrong, but I know where he's going. He's saying what hole to put.
I'm saying her pussy's so nasty it looks like a butthole. That's why her name is Muckhole.
When the plane took flight again, he ordered the pilots to fly as slow as they could, which was around 200 miles per hour, and to stay at an altitude of 10,000 feet.
I know I've never been on a plane because that still seems pretty fucking high. I mean, I know they're obviously higher than that, but to me that just sounds terrifying.
But 200 miles per hour is super slow.
Yeah.
You know, and like they
'cause
sent
you can-
2 jets to follow him, but this plane is going so slow, it was kind of like the cops on bikes chasing OJ's fucking Bronco. They kept passing him. So like they couldn't stay with it because they had to keep going in circles. And he also asked that the wing flaps be set to 15 degrees and to head the plane toward Mexico City. So that's where he wanted to go. And this was in Seattle. So he left from Seattle to Mexico City.
But they never got there, right?
No, the pilots tell him, like, hey, there's not enough fuel to fly that far, so we would have to stop to refuel at Reno.
Yeah.
And Cooper said, all right. So
But did he sing Mexico City, City?
Is that ICP?
Mexico.
Is that ICP?
Yes.
Okay.
And the last thing he asked for was that the rear door to be left open and the steps to be lowered whenever they take off. But the pilots told him, no, we can't take off with the steps down. That's way too dangerous. And once again, Cooper just says, all right.
Wow. Nice.
So, yeah. So every like little problem they had or argument they should have, he like thinks about it and he's just like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
So Cooper, however, has Mucklow show him how to lower the steps. I probably should have just wrote this out with just her first name now that I think about it.
Yeah, probably.
And then tells her to go up front and join the crew. And the last thing that she sees when she looks back is Cooper cutting up part of one of the parachutes and using it to tie the money bag to him. And for some reason, the way I picture it is like in Austin Powers, whenever he's squeezing that tongue on the shoe and like it blows up.
Yeah.
Like I picture like him chilling in the back with a parachute. He just pulls the string and it like comes flying out. And that's like the last thing she sees.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
And also, the FBI told the pilots that, hey, he asked for 4 parachutes and has a bomb, so he's most likely going to jump with one of you as hostage and blow up the plane. So, yeah, good luck.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That happened?
Yeah, so that's what the FBI told him. Like, hey, he's probably going to take one of you as hostage since he has 4 parachutes, and then he's probably going to blow the fucker up.
Nice.
So I don't know how you're supposed to remain calm and shit when the FBI's like, yeah, by the way, you're probably all going to fucking die, except one of you might live.
Yeah, like...
Probably Mucklow.
He just throws her off.
Yeah,
he
just,
throws her off like they do to Dave Chappelle and fucking Con Air. That is Dave Chappelle, right? Yeah.
I liked pinball.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and contact all your loved ones, let them know. Mucklow, just good luck, I guess. But what the FBI told him was not actually the plan at all. So I left it out, but there is one part where Cooper actually asks how to lower the steps. So even though he knows like all this information, he wasn't sure how to lower them.
Yeah.
And instead of having anyone stay there and help him, he just like, just tell me how to do it, and then you can go ahead and head back up with the crew. And so at 8 p.m., a warning light comes up in the cockpit showing that the steps have been lowered. They used the intercom to call back and ask if he needed assistance, but he refused. And at 8:13, there was a change in pressure, and the plane had a sudden movement upward, and this is when they thought he jumped out. See, at first they thought that when it had that pull upward, maybe that was the actual stairs lowering, because the alert was whenever like the pressure changed in the opening. Yeah. And they thought maybe that when the plane lifted, that was him jumping from the stairs. And they recreated this, actually. They dropped like a 200-pound weight out of a plane when they tried it, and it did cause the nose to jump. Okay. So that's how they tried to pinpoint his location.
Yeah.
But because they were following his orders, they waited until the plane landed in Reno at 10:15 p.m. before the plane was searched. So they didn't actually go back there and search for him to see if he was back there. Plus, he told him to stay up front. Yeah. And plus, you don't know if he has that bomb or not.
Yeah, exactly,
also.
yeah.
Oh, dude, this would be cool, because, like, what if he did work for Boeing? He knew all this stuff could happen. What if he just put everyone up front and, like, searched the cabin for, like, a bunch of food and shit and, like, tied it to a parachute and threw it off? That way it'd recreate 200 pounds leaving. And then he just kept flying for, like, 10 more minutes and then jumped off.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And all he had to do was, like, throw, like, little bit of money on that thing, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, they only found a tiny bit of the money also.
Yeah.
800.
And after the flight, Dan Cooper, or DB Cooper, was never seen again, and almost all the money was unaccounted for. His parachute was never found. His bomb that he had in the briefcase was not on the plane, so he took that with him. That was never found either. His tie that we mentioned was left behind. I think they said it was like on the seat or something. I'm not quite sure where it was left.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end as far as the actual leaving and jumping out of the plane. So now we'll go into like some of the evidence and some of the investigation that they did.
Cool.
So there were only a few pieces of evidence left behind. His tie was one of them, and also his cigarette butts. So that whole time he smoked like 8 cigarettes. And when Cooper jumped out of the plane, he took the bomb, all of his belongings, and he even asked for the notes he wrote back from the pilot and attendant. So before he left, he does ask for that back. That's pretty smart of him.
I'll say that's what I did with my 8th grade girlfriend. I wanted all the notes I wrote to her back.
All
Yeah, that's like a clean, nice
yeah,
joke.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that too.
I was waiting for it to go like worse.
They did find a hair on his seat, and there were also lots of fingerprints all around the plane, but it's hard to tell which ones actually belonged to who or how long they'd been there. And DNA and fingerprinting wasn't anywhere near where it's at today. And as far as the cigarette butts go, they did have, I think, like 8 of them or so. So he pretty much chain smoked that whole time.
Yeah.
I forget how many years later they actually all got thrown out.
I'm sure I'm stealing this from Toof because he's usually the one that does it. But since they didn't know how long they'd been there, they weren't fresh prints.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It had to be done.
So they do have pieces of his DNA to use, but they weren't at a time really to use them. And the sketch of D.B. Cooper is one of the main pieces used to figure out who he is. And they interviewed everyone that intervened with him, and they had a composite sketch made. And the only problem is that the sketch looks almost like everybody. Like, it's a pretty common-looking male.
It is, yeah.
But some of the suspects do resemble him a little bit.
Oh, so what you're saying is he's a fucking white male?
You're a fucking white male! I do also really like that they made the sketch of him without glasses, and then they made it again with glasses.
Oh, God, yes. They just wanted to, like, make sure they could catch Andrew.
The police and FBI believe they knew the area where he jumped from, and they searched all around I believe it was the southwest Washington border. And since from the time where the plane dipped or rose up, they kind of tried to pinpoint the area. But it was full of heavy forest, and it was hard to find anything. I mean, it is the Pacific Northwest, and it's very heavy with forest. And they even had a lake nearby that they searched with the submarine, but they didn't find any traces of him. And I did see that they found a skeleton somewhere, and it belonged to some girl that was murdered like a while back.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird.
Wait, they found it when they were looking for him?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that was one of the things they found.
I mean, this wouldn't make any sense, but what if they found like Amelia Earhart when they were looking? You're like, how fucking great. Well, we found her, so we got one of them.
We found her and Bigfoot. But...
Oh, my God.
All right, Andrew, do you want to mention the movie?
Oh, Without a Paddle?
Yeah.
Well, in that movie, they go on like a trip to search for DB's treasure, and they go into like I don't know where in the wilderness, but they go in the wilderness trying to find it, and then they do.
Well, kinda.
Well, yeah, they kind of do. I don't want to.
I don't remember how it ends.
Dude, you don't want to ruin the end of Without a Paddle.
Don't they find a bunch of weed? Isn't that?
Well,
yeah.
They find his skeleton in like a cave, and he burned all the money to stay warm.
Oh, okay.
I think
Is that the one like where Jonathan Taylor Thomas and his friends are in the cave and
fuck
there's the bears?
yes.
No,
dude.
but that movie's better, most likely.
Dude, me and Spence one day, like, we were drinking and we just looked up a bunch of like old movies that we used to love
Wild
to see
America.
how bad they were. All of the movies I used to love got like tops like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, dude. Like tops. Wild America, I think got like a 3.
Dude, Brink better be in the high 80s.
I don't remember what's Brink.
The skating movie, dude.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Game, Brink.
Yeah, it was awesome. We don't mention that game because I made Mark. I got to mention Mark. I made him buy Brink when that game came out because I thought it was going to be super fun. And it was like the worst game ever made.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck it,
dude.
I had fun with it.
Yeah.
Mark, I know you did too, you sexy son of a bitch.
Damn it, Mark.
So the police and FBI believed that Cooper was familiar with the area because at one point during the flight, he looked out the window and told the stewardess, that looks like Tacoma we're over. And he even mentioned a military base nearby that most civilian people wouldn't be able to like identify or be familiar with. So that sort of added to the theory that maybe he was former military or he's a local guy.
So it seems like a lot of the like theories and speculation go by what the stewardess are telling him.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Like almost everything. So if they're just making shit up.
Yeah, because there's only like 4 people, like the crew and stewardess that interacted with him. The people in the crew really didn't know what was going on. He was sitting in the back. I mean, it's not too often on the plane you look back and like study the guy. But I mean, if there's a dude just chilling in the back wearing dark sunglasses, I'd be like, what the fuck is
I'm
going on?
gonna go sit with that dude, man.
It's either fucking Ray Charles or you know he's black. It was just Ray Charles. He thought he was on like the fucking bus.
Oh my god, yes. That's why he was in the back. All right, I'm sorry.
Holy shit, Tim! That was a fucking tooth joke.
I'm sorry.
That's good.
Yeah, I could have done without the whole younger brother dying thing.
Yeah, you know who else could have? Ray Charles. John Mulaney's stand-up on Netflix are super funny, so check those out. This also led to the belief that Cooper must have been an experienced parachuter or had some sort of background in the military. But later on, people began to think otherwise because no one who is an experienced parachuter would have made the jump with these conditions. Like, the weather was just awful. Not only was he not dressed for it, but with the rain and cold and it was dark, you couldn't see anything at all. So you couldn't even see where you were jumping. And the wind chill made it be in the negatives. And real quick about the parachutes, he was given 4. The arguably best chute was the one that he cut up to strap the money to him. And the one that he strapped to his front was actually a dummy chute that never would have opened anyways. And it was only used for training. And it supposedly had an X on it, so any trained parachuter would have known. And this is kind of adding to the belief that any experienced parachuter would have known this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he cut up the best one and took one of the shittier ones with him.
Yeah.
But maybe he just wanted to choose the one he's most familiar with. I don't know. So
Could they have like just given him all duds? Just like, oh, you're gonna fucking die, dude.
see, they could have. They thought about it.
Yeah.
But then since he took 4, they thought, well, maybe if he takes someone hostage, we don't want to accidentally give them the dumb. And so one of the things is they thought if he would have just asked for 1, then they would have like fucked it up. But since he asked for 4, they couldn't risk it.
Dude, imagine like, I mean, if they would have just given him a dud, imagine thinking, oh fuck yeah, I got away with this, and then jumping and fuck you.
You pull the cord, it's just like those fucking snakes that come out of like the can of peanuts
dude.
fly out. Or just it's a whole fucking parachute bag full of the game Brink. They just go flying out.
He pulls the cord and it plays a cassette tape of Carlos Mencia's stand-up.
Oh my god, he has to listen to that on the way down.
And so none of that evidence was ever found. 2 months ago, supposedly they did find a piece of his parachute. They're saying it was part of his parachute. I don't know if that's true or not. They're going to do like DNA testing and stuff. I really doubt it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think he ever opened the chute, but we'll talk
probably
about theories later.
I heard like they gave him like a bad shoot and he fell like the ratings for Mind of Mencia.
In 1980, an 8-year-old boy found 3 packets of the money buried next to the Columbian River, downstream from Vancouver. The FBI confirmed by the serial numbers that this was indeed money from Cooper, and it was the only money that has ever been found to this day. And what was the name of it, Toof? The name of the beach?
Tina something, right?
Is it Tina Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where it was found, and it was
Tina Mucklow Bar.
Tina
Oh,
Mucklow
fuck
Bar.
yeah, dude.
So that's where the
So
money
it's a
was.
swamp.
Oh God. And it was just a little bit under $6,000. I think it was $5,800 in 20s. But the river was dredged in 1974, and the money was found in 1980.
Oh, wow.
So they believe the money most likely came from a different area altogether. And the money wasn't. They don't believe that it was actually buried by Cooper there, because I don't know why you would hide money next to a river where it'd get all fucked up.
So was the money like okay?
It was all like molded and shitty, and it was left in the stacks and rubber bands the way it was given to them.
So how did they like find out the serial number? They were able to like
Whenever the FBI got the money together, they had this machine that took like a microfilm picture of all the money, and they got all the serial codes.
Yeah.
So that way, if the money was ever spent, they would know if it was used. So they give the money to like all casinos nearby, and they give them to like other countries and shit. But I don't think you could actually track it after, like maybe for like the first few months you might be able to track it, but I don't see how you would track it for like forever.
I was just picturing the scene in Titanic when they're like cleaning that drawing with that water. Like that's what I was picturing, like them doing with the money.
So there were some theories that maybe he buried it here or threw it out the plane here to keep like the people off his trail. Like, I think maybe he threw it here because like they don't know actually where he jumped out at. They're just guessing.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, none of the other money was found, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of holes in the story. It's
so
crazy.
like I have no idea how the money got there, and the fact that that was the only money found also is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
and the only other evidence found was there was. I believe it was like either like an exit sign or like something with instructions printed on it on how to lower the aft stairs on a Boeing 727. And this was found in the predicted drop zone area of Mount St. Helens in Washington.
Oh, wow.
So where they thought he landed, they did find this thing that was proven to be from that plane.
Yeah.
So that was like the only other evidence that was found.
Wow.
$200,000 in 1971 adjusted for inflation would be $1.16 million today.
What crap.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
And what's kind of funny is like they let that 8-year-old kid keep a little bit of the money.
Nice.
Just kind of as like, I mean, you couldn't spend it because of how like the condition of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But later on, when he was older, he sold like a little bit of it for like $30,000.
Well, see, yeah, dude.
He sold it for a lot.
Yeah, if you sell it on eBay or anything now, you would like any collector would buy that.
What if DB Cooper bought it with some of the other money?
Oh my god,
shit.
dude, that'd be awesome.
So we're gonna talk about the suspects now. And this was off a Reddit thread, but it cracked me up. Like, people are talking about, like, yeah, so who do you think DB Cooper was? And he's like, the top comment was like, I'm pretty sure that he's hiding in plain sight, and he owns the website imdb.com.
Yes, dude. That's awesome. That is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like such a good, clean, funny joke.
That
It
is
cracked me up.
awesome. IMDb. I love that.
So first, we'll actually talk about his name. It wasn't DB or Dan Cooper, most likely. And in the late 50s, there was a French comic book series about a Canadian pilot named Dan Cooper. And this is where they suspected he got his name from.
Yeah.
Which, it's a French-made comic about a Canadian guy. So I imagine there's not a lot of people who knew about this comic series, you know? Like, I doubt it was really popular at the time.
Yeah, I wish he would have waited, like a couple of years, and he fucking told everybody his name was Maverick.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That would have been so much better. Especially with those glasses, dude.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
That would have made it so much better.
I got the need for speed.
Or he was
Luke.
trying to be Coop from Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, my God, yes.
So he most likely wasn't named Dan Cooper, but that didn't stop the FBI from first reaching out to and questioning their first suspect. His name was, yes, DB Cooper.
Oh, wow.
Which, a DB Cooper, which is not even his real name.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
dude's just like, yeah, I didn't fucking do it. Like,
Yeah. It's like, was it the same cops from the fucking New Orleans thing? Like, that thought the fucking dude was getting through the little fucking panels in the door?
probably. Well, we assumed he took the form of mist.
They're like questioning the DB Cooper. We know you did it. No, I was home for Thanksgiving like everybody else. Check my fucking toilet, dude. I blew that sumbitch up. You want your evidence? Go scrape the evidence from my bowl.
How could they confirm that with his shit, not somebody else's?
So, yes, that DB Cooper was indeed an innocent man. And what made the search even harder is that the following year, they had, like, a record number of hijackings. Like, I'll talk about it later, but there was, like, 30 hijackings, like, impersonating them and done almost the exact same way.
Wow.
And it didn't help that many people are writing to the FBI and media claiming to be D.B. Cooper or knowing him or being related to him. People are always trying to claim to be him.
Yeah, they probably still are even.
And I can't remember who, but there's someone from the UFC who I just listened to on the Joe Rogan podcast who claimed that he knows the guy who did it. He's convinced he did it and all this other stuff. But it was kind of interesting to listen to. But I'm
I mean, it's cool, but no, it's not.
In total, there were over 800 to 1,000 suspects in the first, 5 to 10 years in the investigation. So they narrowed it down by only including those within, the initial descriptions of eyewitnesses, which was about 5'10", 180 pounds or so, brown eyes, in his mid-40s, had a low voice, and also used an intelligent vocabulary.
I don't know. I feel like that's, still pretty,
Oh, yeah, it is.
It
is.
That could be so many people.
So the first guy we're talking about is Richard Floyd McCoy Jr., the real McCoy.
Such an awesome name.
He was an Army veteran. He served 2 tours in Vietnam. He was a demolition expert and a Green Beret helicopter pilot. So right away, this is kind of I could see just based on the description, I could see him doing it.
Yeah.
All the suspects have reasons where you're fuck yeah, that's D.B. Cooper.
Yeah.
And then they also have reasons where you're no, that's fucking not him. So on April 7th, 1972, 5 months after the heist, Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. boarded a United Airlines flight, the same type of plane, a Boeing 727 with aft stairs, and he threatened to blow up the plane while holding a hand grenade and an unloaded handgun.
Dude, fuck yeah.
So fuck yeah, dude. No, not fuck yeah. That is a terrorist, but fuck yeah, dude. No way.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. No, that's wrong. That's a terrorist, but that's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
I imagine him just walking like Brick in Anchorman with that
How did
grenade.
You get that? I don't know.
He asked for $500,000 and 4 parachutes. So very similar. Some say, one theory is, during his first flight, where he asked for $200,000, he, lost the money, so he's super pissed off. So now he's asking for $500,000. This was only 5 months later.
Yeah.
So he asked for $500,000 and 4 parachutes. He jumped out with the money, leaving behind fingerprints and also handwritten instructions he used for the hijacking. 2 days later, he was arrested with the money in his possession. 2 years later, while in prison, he stole a garbage truck, rammed it through the main gate, and escaped. So that's kind of cool, too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
3 months later, he was shot and killed in a shootout with the FBI.
Nice.
So, that's kind of...
and got one out.
That's kind of a fun way to go out.
So, D.B. Cooper, if this isn't him, probably died while doing what he did, and then this guy got more money and actually fucking, succeeded in doing it pretty much.
For a little bit. He succeeded for a couple days.
I mean, he lived, at least.
Yeah.
He got caught, but he lived.
Also, $500,000 adjusted for inflation.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Is $2.9 million.
Nice.
So many people think he was D.B. Cooper, even though while in prison he would neither admit or deny it. His family claimed that the tie with the mother of pearl clip in the D.B. Cooper heist was actually his tie. But there was credible evidence that McCoy was actually in Las Vegas the day of the D.B. Cooper hijacking and was home with his family on Thanksgiving in Utah. So his family claims it was him. He just didn't care. He's no, or he didn't admit to it or deny it.
Yeah.
And then he was shot. I think this was the guy who, when the FBI agent shot him, he said, when I shot him, I shot D.B. Cooper. So he claimed that he thought it was him too, I guess.
That dude's just saying bullshit. When I jacked off, I was fucking Jenna Jameson.
Why would you pick her, though, man? There could have been, so much better ones.
When I was jacking off, I was fucking Tina Mucklow.
Oh, my God.
So next up, we have Dwayne Weber. So he was a World War II Army veteran, and he also served time in at least 6 prisons from 1945 to 1968 for burglary and forgery. On his deathbed in 1995, he told his wife to lean in because he had a secret to tell her, and he whispers to her, "I am Dan Cooper." But she had no idea who that was. She's like, okay, well, who the fuck's Dan Cooper?
Yeah.
She also said that he would sometimes have nightmares about jumping from a plane, and then he would talk in his sleep and yell out how he left fingerprints on the aft stairway.
Oh, my God.
She also said she had no idea what that meant. And supposedly, he also had an old Northwest plane ticket in his belongings for no reason. This lady kind of sounds like a whole lot of bullshit to me.
Yeah. Because it's all just her, right? She nobody was there when any of this was happening. So,
and I'm sure you have night terrors and stuff, but you're really in your sleep, you're yelling out, "I left fingerprints on the aft stairway."
Yeah, that's pretty descriptive.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, night terror, I don't even think you really say much normally when you're having a nightmare. I mean, I know people will yell like random like names or something like that, but not.
Or if you're Wolverine, you might like fucking stab a bitch next to you in the bed.
Yeah.
But you don't yell about fingerprints on the aft
You're not
stairs.
You're not confessing shit.
You know, there's a recording of this, right?
Oh, is there?
Yeah, let me pull my cassette
Yeah.
recorder. It's at the end. Let me rewind it. Dearest Annie, I must confess to you that everything I've done bad in life, I blamed on the retarded kid next door. But in all reality, it probably was him. You can check his fingerprints on the aft stairway if you don't believe me, Annie. I gotta go, Annie. My flight's calling.
Oh shit! Yes,
I loved that.
that was good.
We have a movie on YouTube called Chili Cartel. If you want to
check
look that
that
up and
shit
watch
out.
it, you might see a little bit of that. It's pretty cool.
Bring squeegees and new pairs of underwear and.
His wife also said that while trying to find out more about who Dan Cooper was, she took out a book from the local library on D.B. Cooper and found that her husband had written in the margins.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Like, I mean, is there any pictures of
What do
this
you
or
even
any?
what do you even write? Like, what
Yeah.
could he possibly have written
Yeah.
in, like, no, actually it went like this. I drank Surge. Like, what else could he fucking
He
add?
changes the shit in it.
Yeah.
Like, he writes like it's like the fucking Half-Blood Prince where he's just writing all the fucking right answers. He does that.
Have
But
you?
then he also draws that little fucking S thing that we all did in middle school.
And then later his ghost walks in and says, "I am the half." No, that's not even funny.
Have you guys even done your research? I went to the library and got the book. Jesus, let me flip to it. It's
Andrew just farted in the hallway really far away.
I got the book right here. I'm gonna go to it. Chapter 7, page 8.
Oh, fuck yes, dude. Yes.
It's really small. I can't really make it out. I should have looked this beforehand. It says, "Dearest Annie." I'm writing this small so the retarded neighbor kid can't
Oh my
see
God,
this.
yes.
I'm just kidding.
I like how he puts that in a fucking library book, like not knowing if she's ever gonna see that shit.
And another thing that she recalls is that he stated he hurt his leg a long time ago when jumping out of a plane. And in 1979, he took her on a trip to Seattle and stopped at a spot where he said, "Yeah, you know, this is where Dan Cooper jumped out of the plane." Like, come on, no, he fucking didn't.
So like, this guy is only a suspect because his wife's fucking crazy.
And she also stated that while they were there, he would walk along that river like he was looking for something.
Oh my God. So this chick was just trying to like get like
I
attention.
guess. I
Pretty
mean,
much.
if any of that was true,
Yeah.
it would be a cool suspect, but I just really don't think it is.
That's like somebody calling in like, oh yeah, my husband was confessing that he was Jack the Ripper, like when he was sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, he took me to London or wherever the fuck that happened at.
Our next suspect is a guy named Kenneth Christensen. In 2003, his brother Lyle Christensen was watching an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, and he was convinced that his brother was D.B. Cooper, and he tried contacting the FBI about him many times.
I heard another mystery that was on there was how their relative got cast in the fucking Star Wars movies.
I heard his name was really Dr. Kenneth Noisewater.
Oh, fuck yes, dude.
Kenneth was a paratrooper in the Army in 1944, and after leaving the Army, he joined Northwest Orient in 1954 as an airplane mechanic. So that's the actual airlines that that 747 was part of.
Yeah.
He would soon become a flight attendant and then a purser in the Seattle, Washington area. So the purser is the guy who handled like the money for the actual organization. He wasn't too close to him as far as physical appearance. He was a little shorter at 5'8" and a little thinner at 150, but he was in his mid-40s. He was also said to have been a chain smoker and very fond of bourbon, and Kenneth was also left-handed. I feel like some of the stuff that people use to describe, like, I think it's him. And it sounds like they're getting, like, their information on their similarities from, like, the janitor and Billy Madison.
Oh, my
you
God.
know, it's like...
Miss Slippy's car is green.
And he also liked to drink bourbon. Well, I'm sure there's, like, fucking 800 million people you could find.
I don't really know a lot of people that don't like bourbon. Bourbon's good stuff.
Florence Schaffner, the flight attendant, even said that he did fit her memory of the description, but this was also years later, and she couldn't give a definitive answer. Months after the hijacking, Kenneth had purchased a new house, and he had a lot of new income mysteriously. While he was dying of cancer in 1994, he told his brother Lyle, "There is something you should know, but I cannot tell you." And then he died. Motherfucker, I would be so
Come
pissed
on,
if
man.
you're going to end your life on a cliffhanger and not tell me what you
That
meant.
dude, he's gonna be searching everything in his life
Fuck
now.
that.
Like, dude,
What
was
is
that
it?
it? Was that it?
What is it?
I want to know now, or I want a divorce.
Hey, I was just going to say, hey, and Dave Cook, we do have a lava lamp. Now, do you think it was the batteries? Did he give his shitty battery? So that could mean that it was anything, but Lyle took it as Kenneth being D.B. Cooper.
Yeah.
But this part is a little weird, though. After Kenneth's death, his family found gold coins, a valuable stamp collection, and over $200,000 in bank accounts. They also found old Northwest Orient news clippings from around the time he was hired in the 1950s. And all those clippings stopped prior to the date of the hijacking.
Oh,
so he
wow.
would always cut out all this shit about the news in the newspapers up until right after the hijacking.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And he never clipped out any other news articles after that. So even though they don't necessarily think it was him,
Yeah.
I don't know. They have no answer to where he got all that extra money.
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
Like, I know it wouldn't be exactly 200,000 since like 5,000 was missing, but that's still a lot of money to just mysteriously have in bank accounts, unaccounted for, I guess, according to his family.
I feel like him and the first suspect could easily have been him, but I don't think that middle guy, like the fucking dude with his wife, I don't think there's any chance it's him.
And he also stayed working at Northwest Orient for years after the heist, working part-time. So I think the main knock on this guy is that, well, if he works for this company, don't you think maybe someone would recognize him?
Yeah.
Or why would you still work there part-time, I guess?
Yeah.
And if whoever was Dan Cooper or D.B. Cooper, if they didn't survive and they died, why isn't there any, like, why does anyone notice anyone missing? You know?
Yeah.
But the FBI does not believe that it was him.
Do they believe it's any of the three?
The FBI actually, even though the case is kind of, they closed the case recently, but they opened it officially to the public to try and help. So there was like one guy from the FBI who tries to work on it with people, and he'll like bring evidence forward. But their actual theory is that he didn't survive.
That'd be a sweet job.
Yeah.
Like any of those, like not even just that case, but any of the cases, just trying to like figure it out and like have like the public help you.
But I imagine like it is like you have so much shit going on. It would be hard to kind of focus on like a 40 to 50-year-old case.
Yeah,
you know?
it would have to be like a side thing. Like, I mean, if you end up figuring it out, especially something not even just that, but something like is like more recent, like Elisa Lam or any of those. Like if you end up figuring that out, like I mean, you look like a hero.
Yeah.
So.
The last side thing that I had that was about 40 or 50 years old was that Tina Mucklow.
So this next suspect is kind of one of my favorites. His name is Lynn Doyle Cooper.
Oh yes.
In 2011, Lynn's niece publicly stated that she thought her long-lost uncle, L.D. Cooper, was in fact D.B. Cooper. Her family all agreed with this also. L.D. Cooper was a leather worker and a Korean War vet. When his niece was 8, she said her two uncles were planning something very mischievous and had expensive walkie-talkies that they were testing out. So this is like right before Thanksgiving.
Oh wow.
The morning of the hijacked flight, her two uncles said that they were going out turkey hunting and they didn't return until later on the next night or sometime the next day.
Yeah.
So I think it was either the night of the hijacking or the next day after. Her uncle also had a collection of the Dan Cooper comics, and he was said to be obsessed with them. And he even had some of them like stapled to his wall, I think.
Oh.
So one of the reports about her, why she thinks it was them, is because she overheard them talking and saying after this, "Yeah, our money troubles are over. Yeah, ever since we hijacked that plane."
Oh my god.
So it was like, I really doubt they fucking said anything like that.
It's like OJ going to like his friend's house, like, man, dude, I don't have to deal with that bitch Nicole or Ron Goldman because I killed him. But, just saying like just super descriptive.
So I don't think that's like believable at all. I don't really think they would say that. Like, oh yeah, our money chill's over. Since we hijacked that flight. Like, well, I don't know why you would just say that.
That doesn't seem organic at all.
Yeah. And she actually gave a guitar strap to the FBI that had his fingerprints on it so they could test it. But I believe they said that they didn't match.
Oh, okay.
So there's like tons of suspects, so those are only the ones I really want to talk about. So there was a little bit in the aftermath of it all. There were 31 hijackings in the following year after this happened,
Oh,
and
crap.
19 of them were for extorting money.
Jeez.
In 15 of them, hijackers demanded parachutes. So there's a lot of copycats.
Yeah.
And there was also a device created called the Cooper vane, which was implemented into airplanes, and it prevented the lowering of the aft staircases while in flight. So
Nice.
now while the plane's off, there's no way to open this and lower the stairs.
Nice. That's a good idea.
That's kind of cool. And a side note here, the owner of the skydiving school that the 4 parachutes were gotten from during the heist, so since they couldn't go out and get parachutes that quickly from anywhere, they got it from the local skydiving school. He was actually found murdered in 2013.
Oh, wow.
So some people made conspiracy claims, even though I don't think there's any relation to that at all, like why you would just kill this guy like 40 years later.
Yeah.
But there's like some conspiracy claims that someone had him killed for something. I really don't know why,
Like,
but
yeah, that makes no sense. It's not like he would know anything. He wasn't on the plane or anything. How did that guy get killed? Did they ever say?
He got beat in the head with something, I think.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So I guess all we have left is to talk about like what all our theories are. So do you guys think that he survived, or do you think he died, or how'd he die? Would you guess? What all do you guys think? I want to hear from all you sexy boys.
I think he had to have died. Because maybe the first suspect. That one makes a little sense. Like maybe he just like tried it again and ended up getting caught the second time. But none of all the other ones just seem like it's just somebody saying, "Oh yeah, I heard this dude say this," and it just doesn't seem like any of those are legit. So I think he probably just died. That's my guess.
And I think the FBI don't even think he was able to open the parachute. They think as soon as he jumped out of the plane, he was fucked because you couldn't see. He didn't have any of the right equipment or gear. They don't even think he opened it. He just fucking fell to the ground and died.
Yeah.
I've got 2 theories.
Hell yeah.
One was when he jumped out of the plane, he was free falling, and he couldn't open up the parachute. Mothman
Oh, fuck yeah.
came and saved him because wasn't Mothman spotted in Seattle at one point
Probably.
on the Needle or some
I'm
shit like
sure
that?
it was like
Oh, I'm
everywhere.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever fuck people made up.
Yeah.
But anyway, like some Mothman came and saved him,
Nice.
and since Mothman's cool as shit too, he's like, I saved you.
I saved you. Give me the sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that kind of explains why the Mothman statue sort of looks badass.
Yeah.
Kind of
yeah.
looks like a mix between the two.
It makes more sense than that dude's fucking wife. Like all the shit she said.
And my second theory is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, I think might be DB Cooper.
Oh my god, dude! I already know where you're going with
Because
this.
I'm gonna read a little bit of lyrics here, and you just
We
you
know
just,
it's
you
from
just
Learn to
decipher
Fly.
it. Let's hear it. Run and tell all the flight attendants. This could take all night. I think I need some bourbon to help me get things right. So you just go online, read the lyrics yourself, and figure that one out.
Oh fuck yeah!
All right, Spence, what are your theories on this, man?
All right, so we got DB Cooper, Dan Cooper, Dan Cooper. And he's drinking his bourbon, he's smoking cigarettes, he makes the demands, he opens the aft stairwell. He's standing there. I don't know, maybe he just chickened out and just closed it and stayed on the plane.
You know what's kind of funny?
Just
Yeah.
hid away on there.
When the plane landed, they did have like a bunch of like FBI agents shit waiting and like rushed the plane to find him, to look for him, but he wasn't found.
Yeah.
There was one theory which would no way it could have happened, but they said maybe when he was after he got the money and he let the crew go, he just fucking dipped out with the crew. But there's like I don't see how he could have possibly
Yeah.
blended it, but that would have been funny though.
Yeah, that'd been awesome.
But that would have meant like the whole flight crew was in on it too.
Yeah.
And like it just doesn't make sense.
I mean,
so that's kind of funny.
it'd be funny if they did plan that whole thing.
Yeah, because he is dressed like one pretty much completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting.
Yes.
You know those like suction cups for like a GPS stand that stick to the windshield?
Yes.
So what if on the inside of the raincoat, he just had a whole bunch of those sewed on there?
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
And he climbed out onto the back outside of the airplane, and he was just stuck on there like a frog.
Like a frog. That'd be awesome too. Andrew, what's your theories on this?
I'm like 98.3% sure he just died.
Yeah.
Like he opened there and he just had like spontaneously combusted and died.
He didn't even die
Caught
from
fire.
falling. Like he looks down, he has a heart attack.
So yeah, they never found his parachute or any of his belongings.
Mm.
The 2 jets that were following never saw anyone jump from the plane. But then again, it was super dark. They couldn't really see. They couldn't stay with the plane because they were going too fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of them just suggest that he jumped from the plane, wasn't able to pull his parachute, and just hit in the ground and then just got buried pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know. It's tough because like if he survived, you think the money would have been spent or something. If he died, you think they would eventually find him. But it's hard to find shit out there. Like I said, they found a skeleton of someone else when they were looking for him.
Yeah, that's crazy. Was it like a popular person, like the skeleton they found, like
I really don't
popular
remember.
missing case or
I
something?
think it was a girl that was killed, but I don't remember anything about it.
That's crazy though.
I've
Yeah.
got a theory that it was your mama that jumped out of the plane. And that's where the Grand Canyon was made.
Oh yes. She jumped out and got stuck.
I would, if this was me doing the jump, the only thing like different I would do is I would have headphones on and I'd be listening to "A Ball with a Ball" by Kid
Oh
Rock.
yeah.
And right before I jump out, like since they don't hear the music, all they hear is me
Yeah.
and my stupid voice. They just hear me yell, "My name is Kid," and I jump out like that.
Yes.
So as far as like his background, do you guys think that he had a military background, or what? Or you just think it was like? I think that's what makes it seem cooler is that he was just like a fucking average dude,
Yeah,
just a normal dude who like did all this shit.
It kind of seems more that maybe he just kind of was just like, you know what, I'm mid 40s, you know, life hasn't gone great. I'm, you know, maybe not making much money, and kind of just had one last like plan. You know,
I my career becoming like an expert with the Fashigi ball didn't really take off like I hoped. All right,
Yeah.
anything you guys want to say or add in or talk about at the end before we do the closing stuff?
I don't think so.
If this is a lesson to anybody, it's before you jump out of a plane, always remember, listen to the Brothers Commonplace before you go.
I don't know what this accent is, but I fucking love
I like
it.
Closing time. Open the aft stairwell.
Oh yes.
Thank you all for listening to our wonderful podcast. Check us out on social media. We have a Facebook. We have a Twitter. The Twitter is Bros Commonplace. I don't remember what the Facebook is.
I think it's just the Brothers Commonplace.
Brothers Commonplace. Facebook, Twitter. Eventually there'll be a website. There's also the Libsyn page, which you can get to via the Twitter or the Facebook. Tell all your friends about us. Please write reviews. Leave us star ratings. All this helps us get out there, and it helps. That way you can help us help you because you can expose us to more people.
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
And all our friends that are listening, I want all the people that personally know me or just big fans to either text my number and say scribbly dibbly or I enjoyed the rib ticklers. So that way I know you listened.
Nice.
Mark, you sexy boy, I want you to use the rib tickler text when you
Yes.
hear this.
I like to just throw this out there, but I want to say sorry to Mucklow.
Yeah, we're sorry. That was
throw that out there before she kills herself.
That was
if
childish.
she's still alive, my bad, Mucklow. Not just for what we said, but for somebody giving you that last name.
All right, Andrew, I want to hear some words of wisdom, man. I like closing with Andrew Carnell words of wisdom.
All right. As always, lately we've been getting a little bit bigger. Our podcast is growing every day. We're at what, like over, is it 300, 500?
300 million.
3 million, yeah.
3 million views. Wow. A lot more than yesterday. But, shit, since we're getting so big now, if you get on those porn websites I always talk about,
yes.
we're eventually just going to become the videos and not the advertisements. That's it.
Like the videos are the same, our audio is just dubbed in.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I forget what I was typing in, but you know how if you click your search tab in Google, it'll show like the last things you typed?
Yeah.
And I haven't been on Google on my computer in a while, and the
Yeah.
last thing I searched was Bald Menendez brother. That's not a joke. That was the last thing I searched. I really don't remember why.
All right. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But yeah, just a special thanks to everyone out there that's been listening. Keep it
Oh,
up.
for
Keep
sure.
the reviews and ratings coming. It's super cool, you guys. Keep sharing with your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty, so everyone out there, be good, stay safe.
Laugh at the dark stuff.
This February, history will be made. Millions will watch as 80 years of unjust stigma is left in the past. A product that drove good people to the black market will be revealed as one that's creating a new global market. This February, what inspired the symbol of counterculture will at long last be seen as just culture. The new normal is coming. Will you be one of the first to see it? Visit medmen.com to watch an exclusive preview. This February, history will be made. Millions will watch as 80 years of unjust stigma is left in the past. A product that drove good people to the black market will be revealed as one that's creating a new global market. This February, what inspired the symbol of counterculture will at long last be seen as just culture. The new normal is coming. Will you be one of the first to see it? Visit medmen.com to watch an exclusive preview.